Good evening, tubers. Madame Roy back once again. Let me turn this light on to help out a little bit. Starting a few minutes early because I see that we have 7 watchers already. That is awesome. I'm so glad everybody could make it here tonight. Oh, we're down to 4 for some reason. It might be just YouTube's stupid algorithms here. They don't always tally this properly. There we go. Let's see who's here. Robert Jones, Stephen Barber, Eric's here. Beep, beep. Cameron Klaus asks, how's it going? It is going very well. Pretty busy day today. I'll get to that in just a moment. Oh, we're up to 11 watchers now and 3 likes. You want to know something really stupid? I actually had a dislike before this even started about, I would say maybe 5 or 10 minutes after I put up the announcement of this live stream event. I got a dislike, and that was like 5 or 6 hours ago. Who's going to dislike something that hasn't even begun yet? I don't know. Some people are just real stupid. Probably a troll. Everything's going fine. Cameron Cloud, I'm becoming a regular watching your streams. You got me tuned in. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I consider myself entertaining, and I'm here to entertain and also inform you at the same time. George Blakely, thank you for the like there. This we're going to try one more time. I know I did this before. It's going to be a week-long live stream event. It's going to be tricky. I'm going to have to find things to chat about. You guys will have to help me along the way, too. So let's see how that goes. Cameron's a little disappointed about the PT Cruiser over the Ford. You know what? This may wind up being a mistake on my part, but it's a learning experience. Worst case scenario, and I've said this many times since I got the PT Cruiser, if it turns out to be too much of a money pit, I'm just going to sell it. I'm going to sell it on to someone else that can do all the work. I can do the basic things, but when it comes to deep mechanical problems, either my dad or I'll have to send it out to the shop because I don't honestly have the knowledge to do that. £1 donation, super chat from Retro Tech. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. A lot of your donations and will probably wind up going and fixing this PT Cruiser, to be honest with you right now. So if you want to see more videos of the PT Cruiser and try to hopefully get this thing on the road, send out those super chats. Cameron Klaus says, we don't get many American cars over here in New Zealand, a lot of Japanese and Australian cars. I could definitely see the Japanese cars. Australian cars too, because pretty much all the same thing. British Isles, New Zealand, Australia, and of course England all hail from the same sect, if you will. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, it's all, you all speak English just like we do. Never donated before. Hey, that, you know what? That helps. I haven't done any super chats myself. The few people that I do watch don't actually have it set up. But if I ever get a chance to, I'll give $1 or $2. I don't mind doing that at all. Pup Dog 101 says, hey Matt, hey Pup Dog. I was actually watching Tyler's video. It was his live stream, but I watched it in post-production and I saw you asking questions there too. I really appreciate that. My buddy Tyler, he's really a good guy. He and I have been friends now for a while. We Skype chat back and forth. He helps me with issues I have, and I help him the same way, basically. One thing I wanted to show you guys, I did do a repair myself on the PT Cruiser, and I'm pretty proud. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back for this one. And that is, I have fixed the problem with the defrost. And let me make sure I can explain to you how I did this. This is the module that we got in, the replacement module for the PT Cruiser. This is for the heat and air. This controls the circulation of the vent. This one, I believe, is for the heat and air. This one controls the damper, and this one controls the speed of the fan. Now, the problem that I was having was the one that controls where the airflow goes, basically either the defrost, the front or the floor was not working, and we assumed this was the problem. Well, you know what they say, when you assume, you make a beep, beep, beep out of yourself. And turns out it wasn't the problem. If you look up here, you see this little tiny area here. Probably better if I go like this. Well, there is a cable that actually goes in here, and that goes to the damper, basically that controls the damper, or I should say the blend door, for the choosing where the air goes, be it the defroster out the front or the floor. And the cable on the PT Cruiser, because everything's manual, it's similar to like a cable, like a brake cable on a bike. And what actually wound up happening was that cable had a kink right where it attaches to that piece right there, probably about that far out. The cable was kinked. So whenever I tried to adjust it to go to the defrost, instead of the cable pulling in and out, the cable was just kinking and kind of going up like that. And if I give you, let me see if I can pull this picture up here. There's a picture I took with the phone. You guys can actually see the cable right there. And that is actually where the kink was. Oh, hang on. This right here, that should not be. Actually, this cable should have been going totally straight to where it connects to that little piece I was telling you guys about. So that was what the problem was. And I actually was able to just straighten that out. And now it works fine. So first time semi-hard automotive fix. You guys know I'm a computer tech and I'm not too great when it comes to cars. So one problem down, probably about another 5 or 10 to go, actually. The Silver Beast. Yeah, I need to start calling it that. That's a real good name for that. Silver Bullet, Silver Beast, whatever you want to call it. Mom is doing fine. She's in the other room right now. She never wants to be on these live streams for whatever reason. Retro Tech enjoys the live streams. Thank you very much. I do the best I possibly can. John Doe says, I scored a Dell Latitude E6420 with no hard drive off of eBay for $20. Used my Optiplex tower to load Windows 10 on a thumb drive. Popped in the laptop. Everything runs fine. You can get some really good deals on eBay, especially with laptops, if they're not working. And in your case, it was just missing a hard drive. Quick fix, definitely. Rubens here said he thought I was going to buy the 2007 Ford Explorer. I was going to buy that. Unfortunately, the deal fell through because he was offered a full basically a full cash offer. He was asking $1,000. I offered him $600. He countered at $700. I agreed. But before I had a chance to go down there the next day, late at night, he said somebody gave him a full cash offer of $1,000, no questions asked, and I wasn't able to meet that. So unfortunately, I lost it. Cameron Clout, Matt, give us your top 5 things we don't know about you. Oh my goodness. Let's see, probably, I don't know if I could come up with 5. I'll come up with a few. I'm an avid cyclist. I love to ride bikes. I haven't done it as much as I used to, but back a few years, you could pretty much find me on a bike every single day. I enjoy fishing on occasion. I used to fish quite a lot, but again, your priorities change, and that's something I haven't done for a while either. I am a Christian. You guys, some of you might know that, some of you might not. And I like cats. I mean, it's hard because I'm kind of an open book. What my life is, you guys pretty much already know about. What you see is what you get, kind of deal. Flips May said, it's disappointing that companies don't make completely mechanical cars anymore. They just stick electronics into everything. That's true to a point, and that's kind of why I bought this PT Cruiser, because this is the base model PT Cruiser, so this has the minimum amount of electronics that are possible. When I say that, there's no power door locks, there are no power seats, everything there is manual. Even like I just showed you, the damper and the controls for the heater AC, all of these are manual. I mean, when was the last time you saw gears like that on heater and AC controls? Everything nowadays is either push button or it's an electronic switch. Adam Whitaker says hi. Yes, I saw that. Hey, Adam, how you doing? Pradkins14 says, his dream car is a 1955 Chevy Bel Air. My father's had several, though his weren't technically Bel Airs. His were 210s. One of them was done up like a Bel Air, but if you get an authentic 55 Bel Air, that is a really expensive car. You're looking to spend at least 25, 30 grand on those. Unbelievable. All right, Pup Dog, catch you later. How long has my dad been a car mechanic? My dad was a car mechanic for approximately 30 years. He was an ASE certified master tech, worked for many automobile dealerships, including a RV dealership where he actually worked on the big motorhomes too. So he is really, really good. He's been out of the game for about 10 years now. So the real new vehicles he struggles with, but he can still do a lot. It amazes me. 2005 Chrysler PT Cruiser Touring. Now, mine's not the Touring. Mine is the base model. And that's actually what they call it. If you look it up, it's called the base sedan or base model, something like that. Flips May says he's currently restoring a Mercedes-Benz 300D to its former glory. Those are sweet cars. The D being diesel. They can last a really long time. Those engines are really durable, albeit if it's not the turbo one. Yeah, you don't want to be trying to pass anybody on the highway. I've driven them before, and they're great vehicles, but even the turbo ones can be really, really slow. On the plus side, you do get really decent mileage. Paul Kane, out of the mid 50s Chevys, I like the 58. It's a great blend between the tri 50s and newer swoop body styles. You either like the 58 or you hate it. I was never a big fan, but I know a few friends of ours that are in the car club, at least the one that my dad used to be in, had the 58s and they absolutely loved them. I just wasn't that crazy about the design. I386 says, wow, we have thunderstorms tonight. Was watching the 6 p.m. weather station 60 miles away. The storm was over the station. I could hear thunder. Now it's here. Stay safe, man. I remember during some of the tropical storms that we had, I think it was technically Hurricane Isabel, but by the time I got here, it was Tropical Storm Isabel. We were watching our local Channel 13 news, and all of a sudden, you could hear a big bang, which was thunder and lightning. It actually hit the tower on top. Everything went dark. We lost the signal from the station for about 2 or 3 minutes. When they came back on, you could tell that there was hardly any lights on in the studio. It was really scary. And I knew a few of the people that were the anchor. There were the anchors that night, and I was afraid for their lives. I was like, oh, Lord, please let them be safe. We got 24 watchers and 14 likes. That's awesome. Give me some thumbs up. Absolutely. My first car was a 1970 Mopar. Yeah, a lot of people like those Mopars. I've told you guys, I'm not actually a big Mopar fan, even though I technically own 2 Chrysler vehicles right now. Robert Jones says, my dream car is a 1971 Pontiac GTO. Yeah, they're nice. My dad had a 65 GTO. They look totally different, but can't really go wrong with any of the GTOs. Ruben asked, how was election day yesterday? Election day was excellent in our area. I tell you, even though the people I voted for didn't actually get in, I just kind of gave you who I voted for then. But anyway, I'm just glad to see so many people were out there. Believe it or not, it was as busy as if we were having a presidential election. That's what I want to see, because these midterms usually only have a sparse number of people, maybe 10 to 15% come out and actually vote that are registered. 25 are watching now, actually. I-386, I remember a radio station getting hit. It fried their transmitter and all the equipment inside. They had to replace wires from tower to transmitter. Probably melted them. Oh, it's amazing. 1 million watts, I think, a lightning bolt can produce, and that'll kill anything. That's why if you have computer equipment that you care about and you're prone to getting lightning strikes in your area, you better have a really good surge protector. And best thing to do is if there's a storm coming, go around and unplug all of your equipment. Yeah, 1.21 gigawatts. Yeah, I know the Back to the Future reference. That's interesting that you mentioned that. Dabbler's Buffet. Did you know that SATA 1 was released in 2001? I did know that. As a matter of fact, I had a board from right around that era. Was in a Antec Gamers case back in, I think the case itself was from 2003, but the board was from 2002, and it had SATA 1 revision on there. 1.5 gigabits per second throughput. For its time, it was really fast, actually. RetroTech 100 says, I don't understand the American political system. In the UK, we vote for our party, and the party with the most proportional representation wins. Honestly, I don't. I'm not that big on politics, especially in different countries. Then the leader of the party becomes the prime minister. Here, basically for elections, it's democratic. So basically, you vote for the candidate that you want, and at the end they tally the votes, and whoever has the most votes win. Now, if you're talking about a presidential election, that's different. You also have the popular vote too, which honestly I wish they would get rid of that, because the electoral college was made to give the smaller areas, like the smaller jurisdictions, the smaller states, the less population, a fighting chance to have their voice heard. Whereas the popular vote, it's always going to favor the bigger cities, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and at least in our country, those tend to lean more leftward. So in other words, they lean more to one party. So basically, it's kind of biased in the sense that the popular vote is almost always going to be won by the Democrat versus the Republican. London is no longer safe. Well, I've heard good and bad about it. I mean, there are areas, believe it or not, where I live that aren't safe anymore either. I'm sure there's good and bad there too as well. Dabbler's Buffet. You can use a SATA SSD on a motherboard that has SATA 1 or 2, and it would probably be very fast, but it won't reach SATA 3 speeds. That's correct. It's all backwards compatible. So a SATA 3 drive can be read on SATA 2 port or SATA 2 port motherboards, and SATA 2 drives can be read on SATA 1 port motherboards. Absolutely. That was a really good thing that they did. You won't get the same speeds, but at least it'll still work. I-36 Max, say a prayer for Georgia. It is a mess. Brian Kemp won, but Stacey Adams will not give up. She wants a recount. That's happened before. We've had issues like that in our state as well, but I will. I will if you want me to. RetroTech 100. Our vote is dine in one go. So if I can describe it for the Americans, it's lumps to midterms and the presidential election into one vote. I'm not sure I totally understand that. You see, Americans, so describe for me, it's lumps the midterm presidential election into one. Oh, I got you. So basically, instead of having the midterms and then the presidential elections, everything's combined into one. Interesting. Robert Jones, Matt asks, Matt, what is the best price you've seen on an SSD? The $10 that I paid for the ones I got at the garage sale. No, I know, that's true for me, but for you guys, if you're looking, I think Best Buy had PNY drives on sale for like $50 the other day, and that was for like a 240 gig SSD. Interesting fact with the SSDs, you used to be able to go on sites like eBay and Newegg, and you get a much better price on them than you would if you went to Best Buy. That is not the case anymore. Actually, they're within a few dollars of each other. So to me, it's actually better just to pay the extra $2 or $3, maybe up to upwards of $5 more, and just get it at Best Buy and not have to wait for it to come in. Because chances are you're going to wind up having to pay shipping, and when you factor in the shipping, you're actually paying more online versus going to Best Buy. And that's actually Best Buy's strategy recently. I watched a whole video on that. If you've noticed, if you go into your Best Buys now, instead of stocking a lot of laptops and desktops, and they still have those there, they're stocking a lot more computer parts than they used to, and that's because they've been able to price them only maybe $3, $4, $5 more than you can actually get them online, and they know they're saying, they know that you're willing to pay that because when you factor in the shipping cost a lot of times of getting those parts to you, it's cheaper just to get it from Best Buy. And even if you're getting free shipping, you have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get your product. I mean, to me personally, it's worth paying the extra $5 or whatever it is to get it that day. And that's kind of what Best Buy is doing now. They're taking advantage of that fact. And I have to give them kudos for that. They really know what they're doing. Oh man, I36 says, I hear thunder, but don't want to get away from the computer. Well, promise me if it gets too bad, you will turn your computer off. I don't want your computer to get hit by a lightning strike on my account. Retro Tech 100 says, everyone here is sick of Brexit flips. I can imagine. For those of you who don't know what Brexit is, that's basically England's attempt to remove itself from the European Union, because that whole thing is a real big mess right now. And I know it's going back and forth. I haven't heard the latest yet. As of right now, I don't think you guys are technically even out of the European Union yet. So I feel bad for you, really. I know that's a whole disaster. I know that there was a lot of turbulation, England actually even getting into the European Union. And if I give you my 2 cents about it, I actually think you guys are better off not being in it. So Brexit can be a good thing, to be honest with you. Dabbler's Buffet, have you ever done a video on 5 1/4 or 8.5-inch floppy disks in action? No, I haven't. And the reason is the only computer I have right now that has 5 1/4 inch is that Packard Bell I got a few months ago. That's something I'd like to do, at least show you guys how the 5 1/4 inch drives work. 8.5-inch disks and disk drives are almost impossible to find now. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that or not. Maybe if I win the lottery or I start making a lot more money than I am now, I might be able to get that kind of equipment. But even with unlimited resources, sourcing 8.5-inch disks and drives are almost impossible. Check your battery in your minivan. The battery in my Chrysler Town Country was brand new when I got it, so right now it's probably a year or so old. It should be fine. It's funny you should mention that, because Dad and I were driving, trying to get home from what was it, Olive Garden the other day, and the van wouldn't start right away. I had to do it a few times. Finally, it turned over. And when I got home, I took the battery terminals off, and it wasn't the battery, it was corrosion. I mean, there was massive corrosion on those battery terminals. And I've noticed that's a problem on my van. What I actually had to do that when we were up in New York visiting my uncle. My van did the same thing, and I noticed that if you looked right in between the terminals, you could see this green powder oozing out, and sure enough, they were corroded. So this time I actually had the right tools up there. All I had was a wire brush. I had to try to get in there and clean out all the corrosion. This time, Dad had the corrosion removal tool, which is basically like a little plastic round tubular thing you pull apart. It has a little brush in there that you can get in there and clean the terminals, and then it has an actual cylindrical brush inside that you put over the terminals and twist, and it cleans the terminals. But what I've done to prevent that from happening again is I use these terminal protectors. It's basically a little piece of felt that goes around the negative and the positive terminal, and that's supposed to help prevent the corrosion from building up, because what actually causes corrosion on lead acid batteries are the vapors coming up from the battery. And that's why GM actually got it right with those side mount terminals. Those don't have any issues with corroding at all, which makes me sorry I kind of got rid of my LeSabre. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the occasional political question, but I'll be honest with you, better not to ask me, because I honestly don't know a lot about politics. So let's move on to something else. Vinegar removes rust. Yeah, it also removes metal too. No, but seriously, if you were trying to get rid of like surface rust on something and you didn't really care about the paint, vinegar is as good as anything, really. Retro Tech 100. People who live near the border often live one on one side of the border and work on the other side. Europe wants to make it a hard border, which will make it a nightmare for the people living there. You know what? It's really hard to say what they really should do. If you guys have watched American news, the big problem we have now is controlling our border between Mexico and the United States, and illegals cross that all the time. And I do feel bad for them, because they're trying to essentially leave a country that doesn't want them, that has no resources for them. But the problem with that is if they all come over here, we're struggling enough as it is. Do you realize, you got a lot of you guys probably don't realize that certain Americans are living in poverty. There's like 15 to 20% of Americans that can't even get enough to eat. So we need to help our people first. And that's only fair. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want any more questions about border walls or politics in this. I have never heard of the game Obscure, but again, I'm not much of a modern day gamer myself. I386 is Cameron Cloud. My dad spilled soda on his laptop's keyboard. Oh boy. I replaced the keyboard now, and the laptop works great. You are very lucky, my friend, and I'll tell you why. A client of mine bought a computer for his wife, now ex wife, and the computer worked great for about 3 or 4 months. And then all of a sudden, I got a call from the wife saying, the laptop is not powering on, it's not doing anything. And I knew this was a good laptop because I had refurbished it myself. So she brings the laptop over, and I take and it's in the bag. I take it from her and I say, "Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I'll see what's going on." Figuring it was a battery or something, or maybe the power supply went bad. I open the top of the laptop, and right away I notice that there's this milky kind of brownish liquid that is encrusted itself on the bezel of the keyboard. Immediately I'm like, oh boy, what's going on here? So I start digging into it. I take the keyboard bezel off. I remove the screws, take the keyboard out. Immediately you can tell that something was spilled on it. So I look at it, I say, okay, let me dig into this a little bit deeper. I took the keyboard off, and at least in her case, unfortunately, the laptop was not salvageable, because the very first thing you want to do when you notice something spills on your laptop, you want to go ahead and turn it off, unplug it, and take the battery out before you do anything else. That's step one. Step two, you want to try to soak up as much of that liquid as possible. And unfortunately, she didn't do that. And it actually leaked onto the motherboard while it was on and actually shorted the board out. True story. True story. Yes, Robert Jones. I do know that trick. I don't need to ask him. I've done it before, pouring Coca-Cola on the battery terminals to remove corrosion. What'll happen is it'll actually fizz up and it'll break the cohesion of the corrosion on the metal, and you can literally just wipe it away. Yeah, I've seen that before. You can do the same thing with OxyClean. You know that oxygen cleaner that they sell that usually put in when you wash your clothes. You can make that into a paste with a little bit of water and put that paste around the terminals and leave it there for a minute or two. It'll do the same thing that the Coca-Cola does, and of course, you won't have sticky terminals after the fact. Yeah, Eric, Billy Mays here for OxyClean, the amazing organic cleaner that cleans your clothes, brightens your whites, and won't damage them at the same time. Yeah, it's really sad that Billy Mays is gone. He was so good at his job. William McCullough, good job on weight loss, and the PT Cruiser doesn't look that expensive to fix. Well, thank you very much. I'm trying my best with the weight. I've been eating out a lot lately, so I'm really afraid to get on the scale. I don't feel it in my pants. My clothes still fit fine, but I think I may be at that 240 mark again, so I got to be really, really careful. One thing I want to do, I want to give you guys, I may take off my shirt one day and show you what's gone, but I don't know if I want to do that right now. I'm a little shy when it comes to that. We'll see. You know what? Maybe if I get enough encouragement from people on here to do it, I'll take my shirt off and show you what my beach body looks like. Flips May said, polish and wax your car. I will. You got to remember, I'm not 100% sure that I'm keeping this PT Cruiser yet. I would love to tell you, oh yeah, this is going to be great. I'm going to keep it. It's going to be a great vehicle. I'm going to use it for years and years. I don't know that yet because we haven't even had that thing up on the lift. This is going to be a process. Right now, I'm fixing the small things that I can fix. The next step is going to be to get it on the lift. We have a lift in our garage, and we're going to put it up on the lift. We're going to make sure all the suspension is fine, that there aren't any major leaks. Though I didn't see anything leaking. I don't think there is, but we want to make sure there are no like major suspension issues. And if all that checks out, then we're going to go ahead. I'm going to bring it over to my buddy Travis at Dillinger's. If you guys live in my area, you got to check them out. They do fantastic work. Excellent prices and very reliable. They're going to go ahead and do a diagnostic, and they're going to fix the few issues that we can't fix. And only then, if all that checks out and I can get it inspected, then I'm going to do the polishing up. In other words, wash it, maybe put a coat of wax on it and do like the cosmetic things, if you will. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, mouth off. See if you guys remember what that's from. I bet some of you here are old enough to remember that. Eric Brunhammer said, I made the mistake of Googling some of my recent symptoms, and next day I go to my doctor. I will have him do blood work to check for thyroid issues. Okay, don't freak out about your thyroid. I'm going to be honest with you. For years, because of my weight, they honestly thought I had thyroid problems. I couldn't lose weight at all. But at the end of the day, it just turned out I was eating too much. Eric got it. Oh, yeah. Eric and I are similar in age. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, specifically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I know. I actually had beef goulash tonight, believe it or not, and it was really good, but I'm having a few stomach-related issues because my body isn't used to eating beef lately. I haven't really eaten beef in a long time. No way. Cameron Clout. Oh, my gosh. I just saw it. If you're still here, Cameron, she's watching, or I'm assuming he is watching me on a projector. It looks like about an 80, oh my gosh, about an 80-inch screen. Hey, I actually look pretty good there too. Sweet. Thanks for sharing that. I got to put a love to that. Sounds like mom's looking for the cats. Eric Brunhammer says, not just the weight thing, but other things going on. Don't discuss it here. Give me I'll chat with you later about that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk to you about that. Mr. Jimmy wants me to give Mitchell a shout out. There you go, Mitchell. Shout out from Matt M. Roy. Did you guys just see that? Milo. My. He's in here with me. Oh, okay. I thought she was looking for Milo. She saw Milo run when she heard Mom's voice. Can't miss Mom's voice. Definitely not. Paul Kane says, time for me to go out for my walk. Have a great night. You too, Paul. Get those walks in. Dabbler's Buffet. Have you ever seen a 486 run XP? No, I haven't. I heard that you can do it, though, with hacks. But I can imagine it would be pretty slow. Probably be something like the Windows XP POS Ready Edition, because that's pretty much stripped down. Mitchell's here. Thanks for the shout out. Mitchell is hello there. Oh, that's clever. That's clever. If I don't like cough drops, I can smoke a menthol cigarette. Actually, I can't. I am deathly allergic to tobacco. I don't know if it's the tar or the nicotine. I've tried smoking a cigarette once in my life, and I got two puffs in, and they almost had to take me to the hospital. So I'll stick with the cough drops. And I actually, believe it or not, I actually found a pack of Marlboros in the back of that PT Cruiser. They were empty, so yeah. And it was funny because originally I didn't think that they smoked in that PT Cruiser until I looked at the driver's seat closely and noticed a few cigarette ash burns in it. But you know what? If I think it was the guy that owned it for about a year, and I don't think he smoked in it that much. So, I mean, that was fine with me. Yes, I do not condone smoking of any kind. I've seen too many issues, even in my own family, from smoking. Jeff asked, "How much do you expect the timing belt to cost? It can get very pricey." The part for the timing belt, in other words, the kit for the timing belt, the water pump is about $120. Labor on that probably 400 or 500, so probably around 650 bucks to get it all done. I'm probably going to buy the part. I'll save a little money that way. But that's fine. You know what? I'm okay with that, because if this winds up being a really good vehicle, I can get my money out of that no problem. Very funny, Cameron. I got you. Yeah, that's funny. RetroTech 100. Any more news on all the computers you bought, Ned? The Dell Precision T3500s wound up being about 50% of them were good. I'm going to remember probably about 60%. The other ones all had bad power supplies. What I'm actually going to do when I get the house to myself, on top of doing the review for you guys on that Kenwood record player, I'm going to refurbish one of them that has a bad power supply, and I'll show you how I'm actually going to replace that. Tyler's here. Hey, Tyler. He's asking, how am I? I'm doing just fine. Tyler, I actually watched your live stream, but it was in post-production. I didn't actually get to see it live. Really enjoyed it, dude. Keep them up. Water pumps are $16 to $55 on Rock Auto. That's if you're buying them alone. Since I have to do the timing belt, I'm going to get the kit. There's a kit you can get on eBay, and I think I have It's right here. Actually, this one's yeah, this one's on eBay. It's called the Continental Kit. Actually, Eric, I think this is the link that you sent me. It's a kit you can get that includes the timing belt kit with the water pump kit, all the fittings and everything. The pulley as well, I believe, too. Comes with a 6-month warranty. If you're not happy, we're not happy. Don't paint, modify, or install parts. Basically, just saying they don't want you to screw it up. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm either going to get that. That one's 111.17 on eBay, or I might get the better one, which is I think it's the one they sell at AutoZone. Eric, you probably know it. I don't remember what it's called, but that one's like $170. Yes, I do. I do have to replace the timing belt. That Dayco. Thank you, Eric. You said don't buy the Dayco. Okay, I got you. I do because that vehicle has 136,000 miles on it, and it's never been changed. And the timing belt should have been changed around 80,000 miles. All right, tubers, we're going to end this here. I'm going to have to end it a little bit early because I need to go discuss a few things with my dad. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Not always going to be an hour, but I'm going to try to get it as close to an hour as possible. Please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.